Senators and members of the media are hailing the agreement as a major breakthrough on immigration reform. There are many lawmakers tonight on Capitol Hill who still have severe reservations about the Gang of Eight's proposal because legalization comes first in this agreement and border security second. Here to talk about more are Republican Congressman Steve King of Iowa, Louie Gohmert of Texas. Gentlemen, welcome back. Good to see you both.
Thanks, Sean. Good to be back.
All right, there were 5 separate amendments rejected this week by Senator Vitter, Thune, Grassley, Ron Paul, and Cornyn earlier today that would have had border security first and legalization second. This one has legalization first. Louie Gohmert, will this fly in the House?
Well, I don't know if it'll fly with others in the House, but I think it's absurd. The thing is, we've done this going back to '86. The president right now has the money, the manpower, everything he needs to secure the border. He doesn't have the will. And I don't know if my friend Steve King has been sensitive enough as I have been to really feel the love and affection coming from our Democratic friends. I mean, as I understand this amendment you're talking about, Sean, was drafted with tremendous help from our friends like Chuck Schumer and others. And even the president, they care so deeply about Republicans. They're telling us, if you really want to help your party, then give this amnesty and trust us. We will secure the border. We'll get really tough. We promise this time. And I'm sorry, with all the love and affection flowing, I think we have an obligation not to buy into it.
Congressman King, do you have any confidence that if there's legalization first, border security second, that the border security will happen?
I only have confidence that we're not going to get border security out of these people. They were never serious about it. No, these promises are not going to be followed through. In '86, it was the promise of enforcement and the amnesty now. That was the case all the way along. In 2006, we passed a border security fence, a Secure Fence Act. The fence was never built because it was undermined afterwards. The only way that you can trust these people is if they actually support only this: secure the border, no legalization until that border is secure, and then let's start the talks on something else. That's really the only way we get this done. They're not serious. They want to undermine the rule of law, and anything that legalizes is a path to citizenship, which is, of course, amnesty.
All right, Congressman Gohmert, isn't it the law of the land from the 2006 bill right now that we're supposed to build the fence, or has that been changed?
That's exactly right. The fence was supposed to be built. Some of it was going to be virtual. You may remember a couple of years or so ago, Secretary Napolitano said she was unilaterally canceling the law that was passed by the Congress. She wasn't going to do that fence. And now, in all seriousness, I would trust my friend Steve King over all the love and affection flowing from the Democrats trying to help the Republican Party. But the fact is, we love this country, and we know we need a secure border. The president can do it right now, and we ought to pass one bill now, and it says, resolve, the House will do nothing until the president finally secures the border as verified, not by Homeland Security, I wouldn't trust them now either, but by the 4 border governors.
What is likely, Congressman King, to pass in the House? Is it going to be border security first?
It's possible that something like that could come through the House. There's been a move through the Judiciary Committee to tighten up interior security, and we know that the Homeland Security Committee has passed a border security bill. I don't think it does much of anything. I'm not particularly impressed with that one. But, you know, we've got a long ways to go here yet, and it's going to happen relatively fast. I think the House won't make a huge mistake this month. The Senate may make a huge mistake next week. But here's what we need to know. The Senate is proposing to throw $30 billion more into the southern border for security by doubling the boots on the ground. That's 20,000 more Border Patrol agents. That's 40,000 boots, just to keep the math straight. We are today spending over $6 million a mile on every mile of that southern border. It costs $4 million a mile to build a new interstate through Iowa cornfields, which are pretty expensive these days. Now, if we can build an interstate for $4 million a mile, why can't we secure the border for $6 million a mile? I'd take a couple million out of the annual budget and start building a fence fence, a wall, and a fence, and in a couple of years we'd have it all done on the budget we have. And by the way, a stupid inanimate fence does not have prosecutorial discretion. It will work whether the administration says not to detain or whether they let them detain.
Congressman Gohmert, go ahead.
Yeah, the problem is not that Speaker Boehner has not promised us he won't bring a bill to the floor unless it has a majority of Republican support. He has promised us that, and I believe he'll keep the promise. The problem is he still refuses to say he will not bring a conference report to the floor without a majority of Republican support, and that's the problem. Trey Gowdy has a great bill, but if we pass it through the House, that can be the basis, the vehicle for a conference committee, and then it comes, and then the Democrats vote it through with 30 or so Republicans.
That's the fear of conservatives. The fear of conservatives is they'll pass this bill in the Senate, that the House will pass a Board of Security first bill, they'll go into conference, and that the Democrats in the House, with a few peeled away Republicans, will pass the more Senate-oriented bill. Is that a fear?
And I would say, Sean, that's exactly it. And we've raised this alarm now for, I'll say, a month and a half about that procedure. Now, this is step one, though. Speaker Boehner has made a solid pledge not to bring an immigration bill to the floor that doesn't have the majority support of the Republican conference. Now we need to ask him, will that also be true of an amendment? Will that be true of a conference report? And how about this commitment? Secure the border before anything comes up in the House, and then we'll take this topic up and deal with it. If they had done that in 2006, we wouldn't be here today having this conversation.
All right. Last question.
Jonathan Strong did ask the Speaker, will you promise not to bring a conference report to the floor without Republican majority support? And he said, we'll have to see about that. He wouldn't make the promise.
All right. If he doesn't follow the Hastert rule on the conference report bill, Dana Rohrabacher had a pretty stern warning this week that there might be some people challenging his speakership. Would either of you do that?
Well, gee, Sean, I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's right. I nominated Newt Gingrich in November and voted for Allen West in January.
Is that
Maybe
a yes?
I would consider something like that.
Congressman King?
Sean, my plan is to block amnesty, and I'm focused exclusively on that, and I don't have aspirations of any kind other than serve my country and defend the Constitution.
All right. Thank you both for being with us on this busy news night.